You're welcome to the Self-Delivery Network, Dr. Mike and you. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this opportunity to reach out to your people with the message of self-delivery, message of reconciliation with you, message of blessing, self-delivery, self-surgery, healing and fruitfulness. We sprinkle the blood of Jesus upon everyone going to hear us and the channel through which we are reaching our people, sprinkle the blood and all those operating them. Myself, forgive me broken speech or broken language. Let what you have in mind, your kingdom coming into the medical world, into the lives of people, be fulfilled in the name of Jesus. Let there be self-delivery of all pregnant women, babies and mothers alive and well, the glory of your name, in Jesus' name. Amen. So, I am Dr. Michael Uchovas, a obstetrician gynecologist and the president of Self-Delivery Network and the Seminary Permanent Life Initiative, Self-Delivery Grace International. So this message is coming to reaching to all people that want pregnant women to be alive and well. All people, even the pregnant women themselves, their husbands, their spouses, their mentors, and those who are advising them, who can benefit from what we hear on the Self-Delivery Network. And we have been discussing preparing for self-delivery. The last discussion was part 8. And that preparation for self-delivery, our topic was avoiding the unsafe delivery. And today we are continuing that discussion because we didn't conclude that discussion on avoiding the unsafe delivery. In fact, it's a primary way of avoiding unsafe delivery is to avoid the unsafe delivery place, a place of death, a place of complications, a place where complications cannot be handled. As last week we talked about the signals of medical functions. We talked about what should constitute a comprehensive emergency obstetric care center. And every woman that is pregnant must, the first condition for safe delivery is accessing a safe childbirth care center where you can deliver, compassionate childbirth care center that has all it takes to respond appropriately to challenges that may arise in pregnancy and delivery. And we said that such a center must have the following. They must have the appropriate signals to medical functions, must have the appropriate skilled birth attendants, must also have the appropriate enabling environment. And in our last discussion, we talked about the signal medical functions, and we didn't conclude. The signal medical functions consist of the emergency obstetric care, medications, instrument, equipment, and appropriate functional activities that can take place in that place that will make it possible for all women that are pregnant to be safe. And we want to emphasize that there is no risk-free pregnancy. There is no risk. Every pregnancy is risky. That means pregnancy can actually take lives. Pregnancy can take lives. There is no pregnancy that is risk-free. Pregnancy can either be low risk or high risk. A pregnancy can be low risk now and later become high risk. So every woman that is pregnant must, as of necessity, access a safe, compassionate emergency obstetric care facility with the requisite personnel that can respond appropriately to challenges that may arise during pregnancy. If there are no challenges, we thank God, but still it is wise to be there so that in case there are challenges, you can be helped. The issue of Hebrew women delivery, whereby people think they can deliver without medical assistance and making them to go to anywhere they like to deliver, has led to the death of so many women that actually had challenges which those people were not in a position to respond appropriately to. Now, we talked about the medical things that should be available last week. Today we're going to talk about the functional activities of a comprehensive emergency obstetric care facility. A comprehensive emergency obstetric care facility should be able to measure blood pressure. We had a scenario where was brought to us twin pregnancy, and one of the twins was a male, the other one was a female, and she had blood pressure over 200 millimeters of mercury, that's systolic, and the other one was over 120 millimeters of mercury, diastolic. We were wondering, and she came in her last phase of the last trimester of pregnancy. We were wondering whether she actually attends an antenatal clinic. We said yes, she does. And did they discover the high blood pressure? She said no, they don't even check blood pressure. And what saved her was that her daughter marched on her tummy when she was lying down on the floor. The daughter was going out to urinate, didn't look well, and marched her tummy. Then lipo started coming out. The so-called caregiver who was taking care of her, who was unskilled, told her that her matter is beyond her. She should go to hospital. That was when we discovered that she had high blood pressure. And the blood pressure was brought down. She was delivered successfully, uneventfully. But unfortunately, the baby boy died, while the female baby survived. And they already have 2 female babies before this one, and they are looking for a male child. The male child that would have been there died because somebody did not check blood pressure. So one of the appropriate functional activities of a comprehensive emergency obstetric care facility is the capacity to check blood pressure. That means there must be a sphygmomanometer, there must be a stethoscope, there must be people who are skilled in checking blood pressure. And blood pressure must be checked at every antenatal visit. And we recommend that women should register on time so that baseline data like blood pressure can be known. Those women that, in fact, we even encourage preconceptional care for all women that have blood pressure challenges so that the blood pressure can be brought down to normal before they conceive. But in case a woman has already conceived before knowing her blood pressure status, if she comes on time, she comes early in gestation, we can check the blood pressure and know whether this woman is a chronic hypertensive who is now pregnant. Or again, it will help us to know if the blood pressure is normal. If the blood pressure starts rising later in the pregnancy, we know that this is pregnancy-induced hypertension. And then if the blood pressure that was already high start rising more later in pregnancy, we can now say this is a pregnancy-induced hypertension that's coexisting with chronic hypertension. So why is it so necessary to check the blood pressure? Because high blood pressure has a whole lot of challenges that can cause. It can make the baby to be small, how small for the babies. Baby may not grow as supposed to grow. That's what we call intrauterine growth restriction. Baby can die in utero. Again, it can make the obstetrician deliver this woman before time. So we have issues of prematurity because we want to save the life of the woman. It can also threaten the life of the woman. The woman can have eclampsia if the blood pressure is not controlled. Eclampsia is fits. She can fit, and if care is not taken, she can die from the fit because she can aspirate her saliva, she can aspirate blood. By biting her tongue, she can aspirate blood. So everyone that is taking care of pregnant women should also know how to handle fits, eclampsia, when it occurs, because some people are brought in fitting already. They're brought in unconscious, they're brought in fitting away. So every child attendant, every center that must take care of pregnant women must be able to respond appropriately to fits. That means you must have the relevant anticonvulsant like magnesium sulfate and know how to use magnesium sulfate. Normally, give 10 grams, 5 grams of magnesium sulfate in each buttock, that is intramuscularly, and put 4 grams in a drip, dextrose and water, and run it over 20 minutes. Definitely the fit will stop. And then, of course, when the fit stops, the next step is to bring down the blood pressure using hydrolyzing injection. As once the blood pressure is brought down and the woman is stabilized, of course, you suction away every secretions in the mouth, put the woman in left lateral position, make sure she doesn't fall off the bed, and if possible, you can nurse her in a place with restrictive handles in the bed, or put her in a foam on the floor and nurse her in the left lateral position. This makes secretions to go out of our mouth, and you can put another pharyngeal airway to stop the woman biting her tongue and aspirating the blood that's coming from the tongue. Every secretion in the mouth should be suctioned away, and the woman should be delivered. Once she's stabilized, she should be delivered by the fastest possible means. If the cervix has not dilated, she can be delivered by cesarean section. If the cervix has dilated enough, maybe up to 8 centimeters or even up to 10 centimeters, and the head is engaged, can use vacuum extractor to deliver the baby. But the most important thing that delivery must take place, because it is that delivery that will cure her. Once placenta is out, the blood pressure for those with pregnancy-induced hypertension, blood pressure will go down. So every facility that deliver women must have these anticonvulsants, must also have parenteral antibiotics, must also have antihypertensives that we can use, and must be able to know how to use these medications, like we have said. So, some people who are not trained in the work of self-delivery, the work of delivering, they just allow every woman to labor and labor, some labor for 3 days or 4 days. One labored for 4 days non-stop, and then ended up in the hospital. By the time she came, she had a whole lot of infection. The bladder was ballooned up, and in the course of cesarean section, bladder was injured, and this woman is forced to stay in the hospital for up to 10 days to allow the bladder heal. All this because somebody does not know how to do a pelvic assessment. Every facility that take care of pregnant women, those who are taking care of the midwives, the obstetricians, the doctors, must know how to do a clinical pelvimetry, clinical pelvic assessment. The idea is, if the woman has a highly contracted pelvis, that woman should not be allowed to go into labor. By this scenario I talked about, the woman already has a previous scar. She had done a cesarean section on account of obstetrical labor in the past, and she shied away from hospital. Maybe she was afraid of another expenses, or she was afraid of cesarean section. She was afraid she would die if she does cesarean section, or she had been given a prophetic word telling her that doing a cesarean section was not her portion, that she must deliver like Hebrew women and all that, and then went to try the Hebrew women delivery, which did not work out. She still ended up in the hospital. By the time she came, the baby was dead, and the infection was overwhelming. If not for the way the matter was tackled, she too would have died. So the first step for anyone that wants safe delivery is to locate a place where pelvic assessment can be done, so that to decide the mode of delivery, especially for those who have delivered before by cesarean section. And those who are delivered twice or 3 times by cesarean section have no business trying labor. But that's a very risky work. And in a skilled center where safety can be guaranteed, nobody will allow a woman that has delivered twice or 3 times by cesarean section to go and try labor on the ground that a prophetic word came that she will deliver like Hebrew women, or she will die if she does cesarean section. So one of the functional activities of a comprehensive emergency obstetric care center is that pelvic assessment is done for women who there is doubt about their capacity to deliver by themselves. We must do it in our own center and self-motherhood specialist hospitals. What we do is we do pelvic assessment for all first-timers, especially those whose babies are macrosomic, babies are big, or those who have delivered by C-section first time and they desire vaginal birth. We subject them to pelvic assessment. There we check whether our fingers can reach the sacral promontory. We check the curvature of the sacrum. Now, if our finger, we have measured, all of us who are doing this have measured the length of our fingers. We know from our knuckles to our finger the length, somehow the length of 10 centimeters. And you can check, your hand can touch the sacral promontory. Definitely that is called a little, or it has some nodularity in the bone, means that the mid cavity is contracted. A woman whose ischial spines are prominent, that the prominence has narrowed the distance, the interval between the ischial spines, and narrowed the space available to the baby to pass in the mid cavity. That person, that particular pelvis is inadequate. Then some people, their outlet, the interval between the ischial tuberosities, the interval between them is narrow, whereby your knuckle cannot pass. It's less than 8 centimeters, means that the outlet is narrow, may not be able to pass. So for a woman with a macrosomic assessment is an appropriate functional activity in a comprehensive emergency obstetric care facility with the requisite personnel. That means all the people that take deliveries must learn how to do a pelvic assessment. And once you discover that baby is on the big side and the pelvis is contracted, is to offer that woman an elective cesarean section, or if she had done cesarean section before, a repeat cesarean section, to save her and the baby from the agony of prolonged unfruitful labor. There's another functional activity that everyone that works in a center like that should have, and these are things that people that are coming to reserve and take care should look out for. When the head of the baby is unengaged, the membrane should not be ruptured, because rupturing the membrane can mean cord prolapse. The cord can just drop out of the amniotic sac, and once the cord drops out, after 5 to 10 minutes, the baby is not delivered. The baby can die, because once the cord drops out and touches atmospheric air, the cord shrinks or contracts and blocks of oxygen supply, blocks of supply of nutrients to the baby, and baby can simply give up. So it's important that those who are taking care of women, even if the membrane is bulging and the head is not engaged or the baby is coming by the breech, it's better to leave the membrane alone until the head engages before you rupture the membrane. Now, there are other functional activities that must take place in a comprehensive emergency obstetric care center. So every woman that's going to reserve antenatal care must look out for a center where you have obstetricians, you have midwives, you have people that know how to check women, know how to respond appropriately to challenges that may occur. Otherwise, going for that delivery may be the end of the life for that woman, because where you deliver matters more than even where you have your antenatal care. The idea of having antenatal care in a center that has appropriate medical functions and appropriate personnel, and then end up in a ramshackle, unskilled bed place to deliver, it's a dangerous game. It's even better you didn't come for antenatal care and then end up delivering in a place where appropriate response can take place, like if the blood pressure shoots up can be brought down. If there's eclampsia, the person can be handled. If there's bleeding, there's cannula in situ, and blood can be transfused, and transaction can be done quickly, where you have 24 hours of the day. You have surgeons who are available to do transaction. You have those who are available to take deliveries, that's to do vacuum extraction in case the woman is not able to push. There must be people on ground to take care of this woman that's registered. Otherwise, say you are going to refer that person to another place, a person bleeding to death can die inside the car while going to another facility. So it's better that every woman should endeavor to deliver where appropriate help can be rendered on time by the appropriate personnel. That's the only way to guarantee life. And again, where God is involved in the birth process, where prayers are made for the safety of pregnant women, where people are not doing things based on pecuniary purposes, where a doctor is not doing surgery because he wants to make money, but where the surgery is appropriate, surgery is done. Where the surgery is not appropriate, surgery is not done. The person can encourage to labor and deliver by herself. The self-delivery Grace International wish to introduce online antenatal registration, online antenatal care, whereby women across the world who are pregnant can have professional input into the antenatal care, while through online process, whereby they are not close by to safe motherhood specialist hospital, whereby they can register physically, they can register online and have their antenatal care and have professional input into their pregnancy to ensure their safety. And there are requirements to register online for antenatal care with us. One of the requirements is that you have a weighing scale where you can weigh yourself and give us the information about the weight. You should have a blood pressure measuring apparatus where you can measure your blood pressure, or somebody can measure your blood pressure. You have a combined dipstick to check your urine, to get information about whether you have sugar in your urine, whether you have protein in your urine, whether you have acetone in your urine, whether there are germs in your urine. And of course, you'll be connected to a laboratory where the following investigations should be done. Hemoglobin estimation, blood film for malaria parasite for those who are in the tropics, vital tests to check for typhoid fever, hemoglobin genotype is done, the lab blood group is done, urinalysis of course is done, urine microscope culture sensitivity is done, and you also do hepatitis B and C tests to know whether there's any hepatitis. Of course, you do an endocervical swab for those women that have history of reproductive losses, so fetal losses. They have been losing babies either through miscarriage or through intrauterine fetal death. We want to investigate to know why they are losing their babies. You do an endocervical swab. That means the swab stick does not pass the cervix, doesn't enter the utero. Inside the cervix, we take a swab for gram staining. The gram stain will tell us whether there is gonorrhea, what they call gram-negative diplococci can be seen. The gram stain can also be used for chlamydia tests, either ELISA test, enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, or the polymerase chain reaction test. The lab scientists, they know what I'm talking about. Can also do a high vaginal swab for microscopic cortical sensitivity to know whether you have bacteroidal species in your vagina. So then, of course, these investigations can be communicated to us so that in the course of consultation we tell you what to do to make sure that you are safe. Of course, the books translation of antenatal care will be part of what you get as you register for antenatal care to help you to know the standards of antenatal care and how to have a safe pregnancy and a safe delivery. Of course, this lecture I gave now concerning registering in a place with the comprehensive emergency obstetric care facilities and personnel, where avoiding the unsafe place. You can get more information about this by reading Reasons for Maternal Mortality. Reasons for Maternal Mortality. There's a whole lot of talk about comprehensive emergency obstetric care centers and personnel. Then there are booklets that came from this Reasons for Maternal Mortality. Have a responsibility as a reason for maternal mortality. I will even say that it's a responsibility for anyone to go to an unskilled birthplace to register for antenatal care, because you may actually be signing your death warrant, especially if you have challenges, complications, and the worst is that these unskilled birthplaces can even give you challenges. As some people go there, they have no infection, they can give them infection, and it's not worth it. We also have winning the battles against fibroids. For those that have fibroids coexisting with pregnancy, you can know how to win the battle against fibroids by Dr. Michael Uchobas. We have the correct information about fibroids for those also who have fibroid issues and who are listening to us, who are seeing us. You can access information about fibroids, and then your fear will be dispelled. You have the courage to take appropriate steps to handle fibroids. It will help you to accept needed surgical interventions. You will know exactly what do they do in the theater. We talked about the process of myomectomy in this book. What do surgeons actually do? What are the steps they take to ensure your safety? These things are mentioned here, and about how to get a willing consent for surgery that would ensure your safety by involving God in the process of surgery. These things are all here. And of course, the challenges of charlatans who are involved in the delivery business, who claim to remove fibroids, and at the end of the day, they don't. The fibroids are there. Some charlatans they tell people that they will deliver, all of them will deliver like Hebrew women, and they end up having surgery and challenges, and some of them die. So, we are blessed for listening to us. Subscribe and follow us on our channel, the Safe Delivery Network on YouTube, and click the notification bell. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. God bless you as you take this message seriously. I will assure you that even you that are listening and you are not pregnant, you can use the information and help those who are pregnant to be safe. Those who are pregnant, you can use the information and avoid the unsafe childbirth place. And those who are husbands or spouses of pregnant women or men, you can use the information and help the woman that you love so much to be alive and well. You are blessed in Jesus.